morning. As I go for the next several weeks, I'm going to be going through a series of questions. These are answers to the tough questions in life. Because truthfully, the church is often good at answering questions that aren't actually being asked. So in the next several weeks, we're going to be looking at some tough questions, and we're going to be looking at what does the Bible say about these tough questions, and what are some answers to some of these tough questions. That's like the first question we're going to talk about this morning is what do we do when God seems silent? What do we do in the moments of life when it feels like God is silent? This past week, I read a study that said that 77% of Americans are connected to some form of social media, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, Pinterest, whatever the platform is. Most of us are familiar with these social media sites, and it's like it says that 77% of Americans are connected to some form of social media. We like to create posts to share with our friends, looking to see how many likes we can get, or we like to post some kind of pictures. We're hoping to get some kind of comments in return. That's like at the end of the day, social media is a great way to connect with people that we don't typically see every day. That's like in some circumstances, it's people that we do see every day, and we're still Facebook friends and talk when we've not seen each other on Facebook. But it's like all of us have those friends on Facebook or Snapchat or whatever it is. All of us have those friends that we have clicked the unfollow button on. We have unfriended. What's they're like, all y'all know what I'm talking about. We all have those people and we all have those people in our life where we are still friends with these people on Facebook. And it's these people don't know this. They can't see it, but we have clicked the unfollow button. We no longer follow their posts. We have essentially put those people on mute. We have silenced them. Does it ever feel like in your life that God has unfollowed you? Has it ever felt like God has unfriended you in your life? Have you ever sensed that God was playing a game of hide and go seek with you? I'm telling you, that is anything but fun. Have you ever prayed for something that never seemed to get answered? Have you ever felt something that you just knew was God's calling? You just knew God was telling you to go do something. And it's like you never seen it come to fruition. I'm sure you have. I'm sure that all you have, because I know that just in my life that I have experienced those times. I first felt a call in the ministry back in my early 20s, way back when I was a young, tough correctional officer that still had hair. And it's like that calling was confirmed to me at the age of 30 by the Reverend John Sullivan, who was here visiting last week. So I can take a sigh of relief this week. I don't have to be nervous because my mentor isn't here to watch me, so I can be more relaxed this morning. But Reverend John, he confirmed that calling to me at about the age of 30. I was ordained into the ministry at the age of 36. Then just a few months shy, I want to age myself, but just a few months shy of my 40th birthday, I received a call to go help pastor a church. This was a 15-year journey to get to where I am today, standing here before you on this stage. I'm going to tell you, on this journey, there have been many times that I have felt what I perceived as God's silence. There have been numerous times that I felt alone. And there was even times that I thought that maybe I misunderstood what I thought that God had in common for me. Maybe I that maybe I was selfishly trying to chase after. Well, it's like I've also told you this story before, well, excuse me, but it's like there was even one night in particular along this journey that I quit. There was one night on this journey that I gave up. I had made the conscious decision that I was going to give up on this ministry dream. And it's like I was just going to move on with the rest of my life. And it's like most of you have heard me tell this story before, but it's 3 days after I quit, 3 days after I gave up, there was a man that I didn't know from a church that I didn't know, a church that I never heard of, called me to come preach. And that man was Billy, and that church is Afton Chapel. It's just funny how God works like it. But it's like looking back now, looking back in hindsight, I can see how God needed me to get to a point of surrender before He can truly use me. Looking back in hindsight, I can see that I can see now what's like in my journey. God needed me to get to a point where I was no longer working off of my own strength, that I had to turn it over all to Him. That's like there is a great misunderstanding within the church today that God's silence somehow equals God's chastisement. That's a chastisement meaning discipline. Somehow God is disciplining us. That's like somehow what's like, that's like I want you to know this morning that if God is silent in your life, it does not automatically mean that God is disciplining you. Yes, there are stories in the Bible where like God turned His back on King Saul, and it says that God was silent. Yes, God turned His back on Samson, and it says that God was silent. But God's silent does not automatically mean that God is somehow disciplining us. That's like, remember the story in John's Gospel. That's a story when John healed a man that was born blind. Jesus' own disciples said, Master, this man was born blind. That's so who sins, this man or his parents? Meaning that like, this man was born blind. Well, there's certainly his blindness must be some kind of punishment for like that's like something either he's done or his parents done. That's like Jesus' response was that this man was not born blind because of some sin that like he committed or some sin that his parents committed. But like this man is blind so that the glory of God, so that the power of God can be revealed through him. That's like, so here's the truth this morning is the reality of God's silence. God's silence is real. God's silence is biblical. God's silence is personal. God's silence is common. That's like, dare I say too, God's silence is not always a bad thing. And that's the point that I want to get across this morning is God's silence is not always a bad thing. That's like, turning your Bibles to Genesis chapter 12. Genesis chapter 12. And it's like you can put your finger on Genesis chapter 17. Also, we're going to be looking at verses out of both Genesis chapter 12 with Genesis chapter 17. We're going to be looking at the life of Abraham. Genesis chapter 12, verses 1 through 4 says, Now the Lord said to Abram, Get out of your country, from your family, that's like from your father's house, to a land that I will show you. I will make you a great nation. I will bless you. I will make your name great. That's like you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you. I will curse him who curses you. What's like, just like in you, all of the families of the earth shall be blessed. That's the chapter. That's the verse 4 says. So Abraham departed, as the Lord has spoken to him. That's like Lot went with him. That's like Abram was 75 years old when he departed from Haran. He was 75 years old. So let's turn over into Genesis chapter 17. Genesis chapter 17, verses 1 and 2. But so God promised Abraham this promise of, I will make you a great nation at the age of 75. So let's look at chapter 17, verses 1 and 2. Verses 1 and 2 says that when Abraham was 99 years old, it says that the Lord appeared to him and said, I am the Almighty God. Walk before me. That said, be blameless. I will make my covenant between me and you, as I will multiply you exceedingly. Then, looks like Abraham did. So that we see in chapter 12, God gives Abraham his promise. We see in chapter 17, God came back to Abraham to fulfill this promise. And well, it's like you would read the next several chapters. Was it chapter 17, 18, 19? I think chapter 20. These chapters goes into the detail of this promise being fulfilled. We see the birth of Isaac, Abraham's son, at the age of 100. I couldn't imagine having a child at the age of 100. What does it say? Abram first received this promise from God at the age of 75. And this promise, it did not come to fruition just until the age of 99. Actually, 9 months later, when Sarah would have had Isaac, Abraham would have been 100 years old. Could you imagine that, Billy, having a kid at 100 years old? But I couldn't imagine having another kid at 40. But it's like 24, almost 25 years of silence. Abraham experienced almost 25 years of silence. What would your response be to God? Let's say after 25 years of silence, you have been praying for something for 25 years. You have been waiting for an answer for almost 25 years. How would your response be? Abraham responds in the most human way. Abraham responds in probably the same way we would respond. Well, so you look at Genesis 17, verse 17, it says that Abraham laughed in the face of God. God told Abraham, okay, Abraham, I am finally going to make you this great nation. I am finally going to give you this son. Verse 17 says that when Abraham heard this, it says that Abraham laughed in the face of God. It was like to prove that God has a sense of humor. God went on to tell Abraham, that's like to name his son Isaac, which Isaac actually means the son of laughter. So you tell me God doesn't have a sense of humor. That's like even through almost 25 years of silence, in the midst of God's silence, God was transforming Abraham. We see back in chapter 12, he was still called Abram. What does it say? Later in chapter 17, God changes his name to Abraham. That's it. Abraham means the father of multitudes. That's what we see in Abraham's case and God's silence. In this period of Abraham's life, when Abraham felt that God was being silent, God was actually molding Abraham into what we now know as the father of the nation of Israel. Abraham is the father of the nation of Israel. That's like in Abraham's case, God's silence meant transformation. That's like I told you about my case. My case was God's silence was me having to get to a moment of surrender. We see that the Old Testament prophets, Isaiah, we see that the prophet Jeremiah, it's the prophet Daniel, what's like the prophet Ezekiel, all experienced God's silence. Well, it's like you read the book of Ezekiel, God actually made Ezekiel mute so that he couldn't talk. God actually silenced Ezekiel his own self. But it's like in reading this stuff, we see that God's silence is biblical. God's silence is common, and God's silence is not always a bad thing. in your life, and it's like you are struggling with a season of silence, that's like, just remember that you are not alone. That's like, remember that in fact, you are actually in very good company. That's just, so what do we do today? That if we are in the midst of silence, what do we do this morning that if we are dealing with silence? What are some practical steps? What are some practical tips that we can take home this morning, that if you feel that you are in a moment of silence with God, that if God is being silent in your life? It's like the first thing you can do, it's like the first thing is the silence of God. God's silence should always lead us to the Psalms. Well, I know that Elizabeth has heard me say that before. That's like, it's like at times you're feeling that God is silent, but they're turning to the book of Psalms. Did you know that Jesus himself, he quoted from the Psalms more than any other Old Testament book? Christ himself quoted from the book of Psalms more than he quoted anything else. Have you ever thought about Jesus' excruciating experience on the cross? That there's been Christ experienced the silence and the utter abandonment of God the Father. We see in Matthew chapter 7, verse 46. Verse 46 says that at the ninth hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken me? And if you want to, you can turn over to Psalm chapter 22, verse 1. Psalm chapter 22, verse 1 is, my God, why have you forsaken me? Even on the cross, Christ was crying out the Psalms. Christ was turning over to the Psalms in the most silent time of his life. You can see the book of Psalms is rich with the transparency of believers that are struggling with God's silence. These people are struggling. These people are questioning God's plan. These people are pondering unanswered questions. But in the book of Psalms, we see these people are ultimately casting themselves on God's unfailing, faithful love. So learning from Jesus' example, that like the next time we are agonizing with God's silence, we see that the next time we feel like we are in a season of God's silence, let's be like Jesus. Let's put our hearts and our minds into the Psalms. That's so the second thing this morning is that the silence of God, God's silence, should always lead us to stones of remembrance. God's silence should lead us to stones of remembrance. That's it. We have talked about this a couple times, this concept of remembering. We was talking about this concept back at Christmas season. We talked about this concept back at New Year's when I was talking about remembering. That's like looking back. That's like this concept of remembering. It's like the reason why we are told to remember is because have you ever noticed how forgetful we all can be? All of us can be forgetful. I can get a list of 4 things to go pick up at the grocery store, and it's like I'm only going to remember 2 of them. We are all forgetful people. We all need constant reminders. There is a reason why we have memorials across this nation. They are there to remind us of significant events in our past. We see in Joshua chapter 4, I have mentioned Joshua chapter 4 a couple times inside this church. But it's like Joshua chapter 4, we see that when Israel is finally crossing the Jordan River onto dry ground, in the middle of this miracle, we see Joshua make the people of Israel stop. Let's say pick up stones, and he tells them to build he tells them to build a memorial. As this unfolded, Joshua had these people stop in the midst of this miracle to build this memorial. But simply so the future generations can come back when see God's provision. Future generations would be reminded of God's provision. This concept of building stones of remembrance. We all have memorial stones in our lives today as well. But so my question is, what are your memorial stones? When are those moments that God protected you? When are those moments when God may have miraculously provided for you? Maybe He sent a check in the mail with it you wouldn't expect it. When are those moments when God divinely led you? That's like we are directed to remember these memorial stones in times of adversity, but we are also directed throughout the Bible to remember these memorial stones that's in times of silence as well. It is so important to remember the times when God delivered us in the past. Let's say oftentimes God does not answer a specific prayer the way we want Him to, because God knows better than we do what is best for us. I can recall some specific prayer requests in my own personal life that I passionately laid before God. Let's say now in hindsight, I am so grateful that God was silent. Most of those prayer requests evolved around a job that I wanted or a position that I wanted. Once I got a job, but now looking back, I can see that God had a better, greater plan for me. God blessed me with His silence simply because He had a far better plan for me than what I could ever dream up. Here's a key principle that I want you to take home today. It's like if you don't remember anything from this morning's sermon, that's like take this principle here home. That's like God sometimes says no to a good request simply because God has what is best for us in His mind. God will say no to something good. Simply, when God will say no to a good request, it's like simply He can give us the best. I want to leave us this morning with, this morning I want to leave us with a quote. That's like this quote is, this quote will sum up this entire message in only one sentence. This is a great quote that sort of brings together this whole sermon this morning. That's like William Culbertson was the post-World War II president of the Moody Bible Institute. That's like William Culbertson once remarked, he said to keep praying, but be thankful that God's answers are wiser than your prayers. Keep praying, but be thankful that God's answers are wiser than your prayers. People, that is a quote to live your life on. That is something to put down in the margin of your Bible. That's something to put on your refrigerator. That's something to put on your desk at work. Keep praying, but be thankful that God's answers are wiser than your prayers. That's the closing this morning. I just want us to be mindful of God's silence. That's like I want us to be mindful that God's silence just may actually be the answers to your prayer. Those times we feel that God is being silent, God's silence just may be the actual answer you were looking for. Let us close in prayer. Dear Father, we just want to come to you this morning. Lord, we just want to thank you that sometimes you are silent to us. That's like, God, we just thank you that sometimes you do tell us no simply because you don't want to give us what is good. Lord, you want to give us what is best. We say, Lord, I just want to pray that you'll just let that sink into our hearts this morning. That like, God, you are a God that only wants to give us the best. We say, Lord, we want to pray over all the hearts of the people here this morning. God, I just want to pray that if there is a heart here that doesn't know you this morning, Lord, I just pray that this morning will be the morning that they turn to you. It's like, God, I want to pray for those people that may be experiencing your silence this morning. Lord, I just pray that their hearts will be open to the fact that your silence just may